If you shower or brush your teeth or try to make your hair look presentable, here's some good news. Dollar Shave Club has a lot of stuff to help you out. Dollar Shave Club delivers everything you need to look, feel, and smell your best. Shampoo, conditioner, body wash, toothpaste, hair gel, even a wipe that leaves your tush feeling tingly clean. All of Dollar Shave Club's products are made with top-shelf ingredients that won't break your budget. You'll feel the difference. Plus, shipping is free with your membership. And here's a great way to try a bunch of Dollar Shave Club's products for just $5. You can get their Daily Essential Starter Set. It comes with Body Cleanser, One Wipe Charlie's, their amazing butt wipes, and their world-famous shave butter. And their best razor, the 6-Blade Executive. Keep the blades coming for a few more bucks a month and add in a shampoo, toothpaste, or anything else you need. Check it all out at dollarshaveclub.com/Chad. That's dollarshaveclub.com/Chad.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
When the Senate returns next week, Republican Jeff Flake says he and Democratic Senator Chris Coons will ask for a unanimous vote to prevent President Trump or the acting Attorney General from firing Special Counsel Robert Meuller. There is increasing concern from both parties that with Jeff Sessions gone, the new acting Attorney General, Matt Whittaker, could finally carry out the president's wish to end the Russian investigation.
Now, interesting, because today, apparently, the feds are looking into campaign finance issues because Trump played a key role in the Catherine McDougal, Stormy Daniels payoff. And they're saying, hey, is there some campaign finance? And this is where people on the right will say, well, this is why Sessions caused all these issues, because this whole investigation was about Russia, and now we're at campaign finance over a playmate and a porn actress. I don't say star, because she's not a star. She's done nothing to earn star status. And now they've got this guy. Who's this guy? This Whittaker guy. Well, last night, people all over the country, right? People all over the country were protesting.
Unlike Sessions, sources tell ABC News Whittaker will not recuse himself from overseeing the Russia probe, something that has Democrats outraged. And it's not just on Capitol Hill. Overnight, protesters around the country, from New York to Chicago to the White House, calling on Whittaker to step aside. But inside the White House, sources tell ABC Whittaker is on the short list to permanently lead the Justice Department.
Oh, and that's angering people because people look at him and say that he is this Trump guy. This guy's a Trump dude. He's a Trump guy. Ho, ho. Whittaker has got to go. Hey, hey. You know what? I'm sitting here and I'm listening to all this stuff. And I said something yesterday about anybody he appoints to anything, anybody that takes up anything that he's even involved with, they're going to want him always to, or her to always leave because they're bad people. As if people don't have their own conscience and they're automatically assumed to be bad human beings. And I think that's not good. I mean, you're prejudging somebody, right? A lot of people thought Sessions was going to be that way, and he stepped away. He said, no, I'm going to recuse myself from this. I don't know. I don't even know what kind of relationship they have. They talked about it today about Whittaker.
I don't know Matt Whittaker. Matt Whittaker worked for Jeff Sessions, and he was always extremely highly thought of, and he still is.
But do you know him, or don't you know him? Like, that's just it. Well, I don't know the guy either. But they're really worried about this. The left is worried about protecting Mueller. And they're going to do everything they can to protect Mueller. They're talking about, hey, we're going to do this or we're going to do that, and we're going to put some stuff together and try to do all we possibly can to protect him. I think this thing's always going to go through. I've always thought it's going to end up. People say, Chad, what if? I'm like, I'll listen to the what if. Well, what if they find something on him? Well, then they find something on him and we take it from there. What if they don't find anything on him? well, then are you going to accept the same thing? And I don't think either side will accept it. They find something on Trump. It's going to be what? Deep state. Deep state. It was always flawed from the beginning. Peter Strzok and all of these other people, Page, all these, it's deep, 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 deep state. Deep state. They've hated him since the jump. If they don't find anything, it's because Trump has put people in place to block him from anything happening. People have already made up their mind. And I would be frustrated too. I mean, you're going after everything. Remember, this is the importance of why Trump originally wanted somebody to say, look, you're investigating this. This started out as what? As Russia. From Russia, we've gone to obstruction. From obstruction, we've gone to potentially campaign finance. And this is my fear. This is my fear. Every single president from here on out is going to be, well, the other side is going to scrutinize over and over and over everything, looking, twisting, turning, investigating. How much was he involved in this? Wall Street Journal's reporting every step of the hush money payments made to these women he was involved with. Every step. Now, campaign finance comes with, did he take it out of the campaign and put it there? Of course, he put a lot of his own money in the campaign. He can say, well, I put $30 million, $50, $100 million into it, but that's what they're going to look for. But it started out one place and went to another, and that's what happens, and that's what people are going to say is when you don't have a scope of what you're working with, this is it. And my fear, take away Trump. Let's say the next person's in there. Is this what we're going to be doing over and over again, no matter what side of the aisle is? If we couldn't beat you, we're going to do this. And we're going to find out every single possible thing we can. I think it is. And that's sad. That's not good for us, right? Because what do they always say? If you look hard enough, you're going to find something. Even if somebody didn't mean to do something, still doesn't matter. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. So the shooter yesterday, there's more unfolds from this. I think we're starting to realize that PTSD was the huge part of this. And this is a person who knew the shooter. Listen to him. He was actually in the bar the other night when all of this took place. And it is just, it's insane.
I saw him like a year and a half ago, and when he was going to CSUN for like a physical therapy degree. Then I hear his name today, and I'm just in disbelief, because he killed my friends, and he was my friend too. And he had some anger issues through the years that I've seen him, but nothing to the extent that I would imagine that he would do something like this.
So he's there, he sees him, his buddy, and boom, away it goes. And the shooting comes and the craziness.
I didn't get a full visual on him. What happened was I was on the other side of the bar. He comes in through the front door and just starts popping shots off. And everybody froze for like 5 or 10 seconds because the music was so loud. We didn't know if it was like something with like the speaker, for the people that are my side of the bar, because we weren't right up him. And so we just sit there and you hear pop, 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 pop. And it keeps going like a lot. And then everybody realized it's a shooter. And I look out and I see the muzzle flashes going off by the front door. And so everybody just takes off in different directions.
Yeah. And one of the things that people are saying nowadays is just like on an airplane. And it's sad that we have to think in these ways, but on an airplane, what do? They tell you there's your exit here, there's your exit here, there's your exit here. And in a lot of these places like this, people have no idea where any exit is minus the door they came in. So one of the things they talk about is shooters will go to places where if they're going to do something where it can become a funnel effect, where they know most people have no idea where to go. So you're either going to hide or you're going to try to get out. And a lot of times their hope is you're going to come towards them. And they also talked about the fact that he was a Marine, and you could tell that.
To know this person, to have been friends with this person at one point, to know that this person could have killed you and killed people you knew. How do you deal with it?
It's just reality right now. The person I knew was a trained Marine. He knew how to use firearms. I don't think anybody was going to be able to stop him. He hid behind the front desk and started firing off rounds from behind cover. He was a well-trained Marine.
Yeah, he was. And it was awful and it's horrible. And then with all of that comes, yes, of course, kids, the politics.
In California, we just had an historic shooting. It was the worst mass shooting in a week. Think about that. 12 lives stolen by a thief that visits us weekly. This is our new normal. Broken families, survivors processing their pain, coming on TV in a genuine effort to let us know who was lost and to remind us of the price we are all so damnably willing to pay. 80 to 90% plus in poll after poll agree that who gets a gun should be handled better. And then you go vote this past Tuesday in the midterms, and the issue is nowhere.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not anywhere because it's never enough. And that's the fear, right? Like that's always the fear is what do you want? California, look at the gun control in California. Look across the way they restrict several different things, what you can and can't have, all of that stuff. You could still own a gun, kind of. You can, but the restrictions are in there. What more do you want? That's the curious. Like, what more? If you're looking at a place like California where the gun control is so already restrictive, what more are you asking for? I'm just curious.
And when we say the obvious, stop the damn shootings, as soon as you say that, it's like hiking the ball in a football game. The NRA scrambles to reinforce the status quo. No law would have changed this. Good guys with the guns, that's the answer. Look at all the laws in California. This is about mental illness if it's about anything, and we're all on board with being a part of addressing that as long as it has nothing to do with restricting access.
Well, what do you want to restrict? I'm just curious. That's when I ask people, well, we need background checks. Okay, so let's say we have all the background checks in the world that you think, and this still happens. What's the next thing? And then what's the next thing? I'm willing to listen all day long. I don't want this to happen. They went out and saw him, for God's sakes, and they decided not to 5150 him. What are we supposed to do? I think we can all agree. I've yet to meet somebody in the NRA who wakes up and goes, God, I hope there's a mass shooting today because I love having to defend the fact that I own guns and I'm a law-abiding citizen, and I love to have the fact that I'm demonized over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. So what do we do? I'm just curious. Well, it's not a good guy with a gun. Okay. Then what is it? Tell me. Tell me. Because until you start changing human nature and the potentials of people who have real issues mentally and sometimes just hate and evil, until you can fix that, take away all the guns you want. But if you think that's going to stop people from doing bad things, which is what this is supposed to be all about, you're fooling yourself. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you kids. I do. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
Stormy Daniels, Catherine McDougal, finance, Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal broke it first, CNN, everybody's talking about it's campaign finance, it's campaign finance. He was involved in all of this stuff. And this is that investigation that's gone wonky now. And it started out as Russia. We got you on something else, but we got you. And it's because you paid these women off that you are president of the United States of America. So people are very excited. I don't know how some of the people out there are going to contain themselves over the weekend. Goodness me. And the good news is if you're Avenatti, there's just more time for you to be on television over the weekend talking about it. More time. How exciting is that if you're him? Talking about and again, porn actress, I do not use the word star. She is not a star. Just more time. Very exciting. What will it lead to? I don't know. But people are very excited about this because they think they've got him. They think this is it. This has got to be it. This has got to be. If this isn't it, then I don't know what is. It's never been more obvious in my life. I just knew that once he paid these two women off, who he had adult relationships with that were not coerced into anything, but he wanted to keep them quiet, and he paid them handsomely for that. Once he did that, he secured the presidency of the United States of America. That's all it took. That is all it took. So based on that, Stormy Daniels has a lot of presidents behind her coming forward. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Let me give you that number again. 323-538-2423. 323-538-CHAD is the text line. You can text me directly. It's awesome. I try to answer as many as I possibly can, or at Chad Benson Show is the Twitter. Sometimes I go fast. I get that. I apologize. My brain's working at 1,000 miles an hour.
Just 14% of American adults were cigarette smokers in 2017, according to data from the Centers for Disease Control, the Food and Drug Administration, and the National Institute of Health's Cancer Institute. That number down from 15.5% the year before, and a 67% drop since 1965. According to the data, smoking is highest among certain groups, such as people with a GED instead of high school diploma, those with an annual household income under $35,000, and people who are divorced, separated, widowed, or not living with a partner.
Basically, poor people that aren't very intelligent smoke cigarettes. Maybe they're trying to get out of here quicker. I don't know. I as a person who's never had a cigarette in my life, don't know the appeal to it. Been around it as a child all of my life. Didn't find it to be interesting. And I always thought I had better things to do with my money. And it was the same kind of thing with drink and all of that stuff. But it's, if you smoke nowadays, isn't that kind of on you, right? Like smoking, that's on you. I don't know why. It's like people with drugs. I've never really got it. Don't know how. It's like, you know what happens when you smoke crack. But you think, oh, I can control it. Okay. You're the one. But you know you can't. Like, I see the opioid issues. Because people, rarely do they start out in that. As far as the average person gets into it, other people turn to it when they can't get their hands on other things. But I see how somebody, a construction guy hurts his back and he gets hooked on it, or somebody like that. I could see that. But like smoking and other drugs, you know what's coming. You do. You absolutely know what's coming. I don't know why people still do it. Hey, but who am I, right? Just a dude. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. And that's at the little symbol, Chad, ChadBenson, right? At Chad Benson Show. That's your Twitter. You can text me 323-538-2423. Got a lot of stuff to talk to. I want to talk about the Republicans and Democrats, and it's very interesting. Both of them are facing something coming up in 2020, and 2020 has started now, if that makes sense. And both of them are facing the same thing. What are we doing, and where are we going? Oh, yeah, they kind of are. Yeah, where do you hear this? Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
By doing a dance on the graves of Republicans who did not show him enough fealty. Republicans who, for their own purposes, many of them in those suburban districts that turned away from President Trump, where he was toxic. That commercial was toxic. His language was toxic. People like Congressman Carlos Curbelo in Florida. People like Congresswoman Barbara Comstock in Virginia. People like Congresswoman Mia Love in Utah. He danced on their graves.
He did. That's a problem. That is a problem. See, Trump has a base out there, and the Republicans have a base, and they're not all the same. They're not. And Trump's going to leave. He's going to be like, I'm out of here. See ya. It's been nice. Did what I wanted to do. Was president of the United States of America. I'm moving on now. And then Trump will leave. It could be in 2 years. It could be in a year. It could be in 6 years. And then the Republicans are going to look around and go, what's our identity? Because, like, we kind of sold our soul a little bit with this guy. So, but we kind of like the way he fought, but we don't really have anybody on the bench. And what's our identity? What is your identity? That to me is the question I want to know. If you're a Republican right now, right, a quote-unquote conservative, what is your identity? Because Trump's he's not a conservative. He's not. He's not a conservative. Not at all. Not a conservative. So what is your identity at this moment in time? If you're a conservative right now and you're looking around and you're like, I don't know. That's right. You don't know. You don't know. So what is it? It's a fair question. It's a very fair question. Because Trump is going to step away. And I look out there and I don't see anybody behind him that is going to fill his shoes. Rand Paul's not going to do it. And a lot of these people he brought with him, with all of the negativity, he did bring a certain amount of people with him. And guess what? Those people, once he's gone, they're like, I'm done. Moving on. So then what do you have? I think it's a fair question to ask. Then, I don't know what you have. I couldn't tell you what you have. Because for a lot of people out there, they sold their soul for him. Now, on the other side of the aisle, you have another group of people that are doing all they can to defeat Trump. They're the other party, but they've become the party of defeating Trump.
Democrats just won back the House of Representatives after 8 years. They are thrilled with that, obviously, and yet they don't appear to have any idea how they did it. As of tonight, there really is no Democratic program or platform or message. There's no Democratic plan for making the economy stronger or the country safer. There's only Donald Trump, whom they despise. The entire Democratic message is Trump. The president is often accused of narcissism, making everything about himself. But on that point, Democrats agree with him. They think everything is about Trump, too.
So what do you do? So if you're the Democrats, you've got an issue right now because you've got 2, 3, 4, 5 chefs in the kitchen, and it isn't big. Your message is not on point. You have a different message for that is dominating, which is very much a coastal message, big city message. So what is that? Because Trump's message, while it plays out for jobs and he fights against the political correctness and all of that stuff to get some of the conservatives and the Republicans base excited, he's in real life, he's pro-choice. I don't think he really cares. Same thing with marriage. I think that Trump, for all intents and purposes, is anything but. I joked around, said he's probably maybe the first libertarian president we've ever had in a lot of ways. Minus the trade, but he needed a flag to get under, and he didn't like Obama, and he didn't like the way the Democrats have become. I think a lot of that had to do with political correctness. So this is what you got. So what do you have now? If you're the Republicans, what do you have? And if you're the Democrats and you're looking around and you're thinking 2020 is on the way, so what do we have to do? Well, it's all about just stopping this guy. Okay, let's just say this guy left and decided he wasn't going to run. What is your message then?
Getting Trump's tax returns.
Breaking news, they do intend to request President Trump's tax returns. Getting your hands on those Trump tax returns, as everyone knows, would be a big deal for the committee.
That's the priority for Democrats, not infrastructure, not wages, not the looming threat of China or drug ODs in this country, the shrinking middle class, not even health care. Trump's tax returns. That's what Democrats really want.
Yeah, that's it. Porn stars, tax returns, those things are what they're looking for. That's not a message. That's not. And the message is a free school, free health care, free homes, free money. Works in certain areas, but not all areas. So what then? What is the message? That is what I want to know from both sides. Both sides have issues. Trump may be the ringleader now, but eventually he's going to go. And you're going to be Cleveland. Right? You had LeBron. LeBron leaves. You're now Cleveland. And now you're like, oh, wow, we fired our coach after 6 games because we're 0-6 and we're awful. What's your future look like? If you're the Democrats, it's the same way. Right? It's going to be going after Trump in every way, shape, or form. We're going to start with the Russia. There's a lot of that stuff that's potential to be there. But you got to watch it as well as you move into this, because if you go a little south, it's all going to go to hell in a handbasket, right? And the market takes a dumper and everybody looks at you and goes, that's your fault. But what is your plan outside of that? How do you woo? Because we've gotten to the point where we're no longer trying to influence people to vote for the party. We're just telling everybody how horrible the other side is and how bad they are and how you're just a little less worse than that. We're just a little less awful creatures. So vote for us. That's not a win. It's not. I think right now, in this weird, bizarre world that we live in, I think we could do justice reform. I think we could do a full immigration reform. I think we could look at healthcare in a very serious way. And I think on top of all of that stuff, we could put a bill together for infrastructure in this country. You could put 4 things out there that would potentially be huge and help America. But we live in a world where the last thing we want to do is give somebody else credit, because that way your team's not winning. You need the other team to fail. It's not that I'm going to do better. It's we need you to fail. That's sad. 323-538-2423. That is the text line. You can text the program, 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. So this Jim Acosta stuff is crazy. And so the White House put out something, and you could tell it was kind of doctored. Jim Acosta is finally speaking out about what took place that day, how he found out that he was no longer going to participate in press conferences at the White House.
Yeah, I went back to the White House, and when I arrived at the gate, the Secret Service came out and informed me that my press credentials were being, revoked temporarily, suspended, and the Secret Service officer came over to me and asked me to hand over my credential. And I did. And I told him, I said, listen, I know you're a professional, you're just doing your job. And thanks for your service. And handed him a credential I've had for 5 years.
Yeah. So that's how he found out. And he says, I was asking some questions about that Trump didn't like. And Trump, look, nobody likes that. You know, Obama, he had his issues with Fox, right? You know, he had his issues with Fox. And one of the things that a lot of people in the press that you didn't hear about, because the uppers, you know, they loved Obama, is the fact that he liked everything controlled and scripted. So it's a friend or foe. I used to have a guy who worked in the radio industry, and when he'd get a bunch of phone calls, he would ask if it was a friend or foe, because he wouldn't take a foe. He didn't want to debate. So he wanted a controlled environment. I get that. Trump, on the other hand, goes a little bit of, it's a little bit of a freeballing kind of thing. And that's what he does. And that at times can get him in trouble. They asked him about him putting his hands on the woman that came over to get the microphone out of his hands. It was a White House aide.
Obviously, I didn't put my hands on her or touch her, as they're alleging, and it's just unfortunate that the White House is saying this. We all try to be professionals over there, and I think I handled myself professionally, and I appreciate all of the comments from my colleagues.
Yeah, I think I think that I don't think you put your hands. I don't think you did anything like that. You didn't do anything. It's not like you took the microphone and bashed her in the head, right? You know, you didn't pistol whip her. I didn't. I think you made yourself part of something, and you grandstanded a bit. I will say that. I don't have anything against Jim Acosta. I don't. I think he's been a good reporter. But when it comes to Trump, he likes being Trump's foil. He likes being a part of that, and I myself, I wasn't a fan of the way he acted the other day, because I thought the way he acted, just as much as Trump goes well beneath the presidency and a lot of the attitudes and the things he says, at the same time, I think what he did the other day wasn't journalism. He wanted to debate. He didn't want to have a question asked. He wanted to debate the president, and the president knows this, and it went on, and it went on far too long.
I do think that this is a test for all of us. I do think they're trying to shut us down to some extent inside the White House press corps, and to some extent I think they're trying to send a message to our colleagues.
So we'll see. We'll see. It was very interesting, though, the way that he went about things, and I think both of them had a part to play in that, right? We can't just say it's all Trump, but Trump had a huge part to play in it. Trump had an absolute massive part to play in it. I think both of them at some point in time were looking to get into a squabble. And being a journalist, and I'm telling you, and as I've tried to explain this to people, journalists are different than opinion makers. Opinion makers are talking heads like me. Right? We're not journalists. I'm not writing op-eds. I'm not writing papers for the New York Times, the LA Times, and saying here's the who, what, when, how, and why. That's a journalist. And there's a lot of great journalists out there. Times have changed. Journalists are having to shift into different positions because the world is changing, especially when it comes to the way that we consume our media. Absolutely, it is. And now journalists some of them are bigger than ever before, and they're blurring the lines of journalism and opinion. But I will say that Trump handled himself, I thought, poorly. Today, I think he called somebody, said, why do you ask so many stupid questions? And there's just better ways to doing that. You're the president of the United States. You don't always have to be a Richard. I get it every once in a great while, right? You get frustrated. I mean, look at coaches in sports, right? Who in the middle of the game have to instead of talking to their team, they have to walk over and like Greg Popovich and do this awful interview that he doesn't want to do, or Bill Belichick when they're walking off the field after their team just, fell behind 14-3 and they're not even getting the ball back to start the second half. And then you've got to go ask them the question. Every once in a while, you're going to get somebody who's terse. It just seems to be an everyday thing. And I think he can do better. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. ChadBenson. If you don't know how to spell show, why not? Butcher Box. Phil, I need a ruling on this. You're having a Butcher Box meal this weekend. Is this correct?
Yeah, I'm making the rest of the chicken breasts.
The rest of the chicken breasts, which are massive. Huge. In fact, they're so huge. So big. I got to be honest with you. I think you could probably move in one. That's how big they are. They're massive. Massive. Let me tell you what they've got. The Butcher Box, it comes to your house, right? So bing bong, you look down, you're like, what is this? Oh my God, it's that Butcher Box. I open it up. And then you open up this giant box and you see the grass-fed, grass-finished beef. Oh, what is this? Massive chicken breast. Whoa, baby. Oh my Lord. Heritage bred pork that is way different than the other white meat. It's actually pigs that are raised to keep all their fats and flavors. Oh, jeez. And it's right there. And then you take it in the house and you open it up and you put everything inside and then you defrost it and then you barbecue or you grill or you do whatever you want to do with any of this stuff. And you're going to love it all. Now, let me tell you what's going on. You need to join today. Makes a great Christmas gift. When you join today, it's less than $6 a meal. Premium cuts like you've never seen. When you join today, for my listeners, you're going to get $20 off, and it's not that expensive. Let me tell you that. That's a lot right there. And on top of that, are you ready? Free bacon for the life of your subscription. Free bacon. That alone is worth it, but it's free. Yeah. Go to butcherbox.com/Chad. That's butcherbox.com/Chad. Butcherbox.com/Chad. Eat it. It's delicious. Eat it all and then get more and eat more. It's incredible. Chad Benson Show.
Got that sniffling, sneezing, stuffy head thing going on? Time for your daily dose of Vitamin Chad.
You're a mean one. He may be a mean one, but The Grinch will take the top spot at the box office this weekend. Predictions have the holiday film starring the voice of Benedict Cumberbatch opening somewhere in the $60 million range.
I'm going to steal their Christmas.
The thriller The Girl in the Spider's Web, starring The Crown's Claire Foy, is looking at a less impressive $10 to $15 million.
He won't have you again.
Also opening in that same range, the Nazi zombie horror flick Overlord.
What are you doing to me? Okay, so in fairness, I went and saw Overlord last night because I do stuff like that, and it's everything I wanted it to be. It was fun. It was absolutely fun. It's kind of a more advanced B movie is what I was telling somebody. It's just a very advanced B movie. It was a lot of fun to go see. I'm going to go see Bohemian Rhapsody tomorrow morning. Jack's going tonight to see The Grinch. The Grinch, one of my buddies went and saw it. And another buddy went, actually, one of the another talk show host went and saw it, Bruce St. James, and I said, how was it? He says, we didn't need to make it again. I don't know why they made it again. And I wondered that as well. I wonder why we made this again. And if I was going to make it again, I would make it totally off the wall, right? Like really make him mean. Almost like House, right? Like just make him just awful. But he just said it really wasn't necessary. You know, we had the live action, because that's what you're seeing now normally is great cartoons are becoming live action. We got Dumbo coming out next year, live action. The Grinch has already been live action. So you've had several of these already live action, and then this one's going back to that. I wondered it, but it's going to do well, and it's movies, and I will probably go see it because, you know, kids want to go see movies like that. So Jack's it's so funny. So he's going to go see The Grinch tonight, and this is such my kid. And it's just, he's going to go see The Grinch, but he really, at 8, really wants to go see Bohemian Rhapsody. And I'm like, no. His mom's like, he wants to go see it, but I'm not going to let him. I'm like, that's good. Right? 8's a little young. This isn't Venom, PG-13 as well. Venom, different. This is Bohemian Rhapsody, a little bit more mature kind of things that they're dealing with. Even though there's not a lot of it, it's still enough that, you know, I get he likes the music, and I love that he loves the music. But we're going to pass on him going to see it just yet. Right? I'm going to be the dad there. Going to be the dad. Although Saturday I was like, yeah, he really wants to see it. I'm like, no. But for a moment, I went, maybe. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. God, I had a great donut today. Oh, wait, that could be any day because those words go together. Great donut. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thought and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
We did speak to people who were inside the building, and they are counting all those provisional ballots. So people who didn't have the right ID or maybe went to the wrong polling place, they're counting all those ballots, and they're verifying voter intent is what they're telling me. So they're hand-checking ballots for any ballots that might have some issues or discrepancies. So, for example, let's say a voter filled in the bubble for one candidate, but then drew a big X through it and then filled in a bubble for another candidate. They're putting those up on projectors and saying, okay, this voter intended to vote for this person, and they are going through them by hand. When asked if they could give us a total number of those provisional ballots that they're still going through, they could not provide us with that number.
Oh, God, what a nightmare. So Florida is in disarray, and they're going to have, I mean, they've got competing lawsuits. I said it, 2-3 weeks ago. Let me tell you what's going to happen. Lawsuit, 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 lawsuit. These things aren't going to be settled for weeks, if not months. Don't be surprised if we don't have some of these races figured out for a bit because of the lawsuits. It's a nightmare. It really is. So you've got Florida that's in disarray. In fact, to the point where Gillum may go, you know what, maybe I didn't really want to concede. So wait, hold on a second. Let's step back from that. Then you've got Arizona that is counting the votes very slowly. They're counting the votes. Yeah. So that's taken forever. Ever. Hopefully next week. I think it's going to, and it's just, the only race is, it's Sinema, McSally. That's what the country's looking at, because the more senators Trump has, the better people think, the closer they can get to, to the Republicans, the better the Democrats are going to be happy with. That's the battle that's going on there. It's a huge thing. And California has some 4 million. It's probably a little bit less than that now, but it's probably right around 3.5 million, 3 million votes. As of today, early, it was like 4 million, not counted. Think about that. Think about the nightmare. Florida can't get it straight. Arizona. You need better, Arizona, please. People are looking. They're laughing at us. God, you're embarrassing me. Can't take you anywhere. Oh, God. It's just such a nightmare. We finished on Tuesday. And you know there's going to be some close races. But now what comes is you've got lawsuits, right, across counties, cities, people wondering if they're voting. You got the Republicans and the Democrats. You got competing lawsuits in Florida, Georgia. Here comes the lawsuits. They're ready to roll. It's just going to be, I don't even know what to say anymore. And you know what's funny? Every time, it's Florida and Arizona. Every time. It's the same. Can't take you guys anywhere. I'm going to put you back in the car and wait till your father gets home. What a nightmare. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. Love hearing from you. So Donald Trump. So now what we've got is a situation today where Wall Street Journal is reporting that the feds are close, potentially may have, possibly, but not 100% sure, could be, but maybe not, have something on hush money paid to Catherine McDougal and the adult film actress, because she's not a star, Stormy Daniels, that may or may not be, could be or couldn't be, possibly but not sure, a campaign violation. And that's why people are asking the question about who's this Whittaker, who nobody knew about the other day, but now that he is the acting AG, everybody knows about, to the point where last night people are angry and outdoors screaming about it.
Unlike Sessions, sources tell ABC News Whittaker will not recuse himself from overseeing the Russia probe, something that has Democrats outraged. And it's not just on Capitol Hill. Overnight, protesters around the country, from New York to Chicago to the White House, calling on Whittaker to step aside. But inside the White House, sources tell ABC Whittaker is on the short list to permanently lead the Justice Department.
I don't think that is going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen at all. But they want to put a bill out there potentially that would protect the Meuller investigation. People think he's going to come in, this Whittaker, and that he is just somehow a puppet for the president. He's going to shut it down, that he's going to choke off the money. And now they're looking at obstruction of justice. All of this coming from what? Maybe the Meuller investigation because of Cohen. And so this is what you've got. Look, I don't know this guy from Adam. I know he played football, Iowa, right? Caught a pass in the Rose Bowl, right? I mean, he was appointed by Bush, and he's done some stuff. He had some dealings with a startup company that didn't look like it went very well. But outside of that, I mean, Sessions picked him. So he seems to come with a reputation. And now the question is, do you know him, Mr. President?
I don't know Matt Whittaker. Matt Whittaker worked for Jeff Sessions, and he was always extremely highly thought of, and he still is.
And they're like, well, he said he didn't know him, but he said he did know him. So did he not know him, or did he know him? Well, I know somebody, but you know somebody? Like, you work with people, but if somebody came in here, and we have, somebody like, do I know the intern? Well, I know the intern, right? But do I know the intern? No, not really. I mean, know the name, and I know who they're working with, what shows and stuff. So there's a difference. Oh, Chad, now you're making excuses. But he's right about this.
No matter who I put in, they go after him. It's very, very sad, I have to say. But he's acting. I think he'll do a very good job.
Yeah, he's acting. It's all an act. So what's going to happen? I don't know. That I don't know. They're going to put a special bill in next week, potentially, right? That's what's going to happen. Mitch McConnell's talking about today the whole thought process with the Meuller probe and if it's going to go away.
The Meuller investigation is not under threat. The president said repeatedly he's not going to dismiss the Meuller investigation. He said repeatedly it's going to be allowed to finish.
Yeah, and I think it's much closer than people think to being finished. Now, remember what this started with. They were looking into Russia. Did Trump's campaign have dealings with Russia, in particular his son and a few other people with knowledge of things, right, through WikiLeaks and all of this stuff? Did they in some way, shape, or form collaborate to destroy Hillary Clinton and give Trump the presidency? That's where it started at. Now we're at money laundering and paying off prostitutes and obstruction of... Oh, did I say prostitutes? She's not a prostitute. She has sex for money, Chad, on TV. You're a jerk. But adult film actress. So that's where we are now. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't. I know that they're going to complain and there's going to be a fight. And all the while we'll be like, hey, remember health care? You guys didn't fix it. And you said you were going to fix it. And you over there on the left, you shut up. You broke it more than it was already broken. Oh, yeah. Remember that? Remember immigration? You're all fighting and they're coming here and people are, we're going to get this all. Yeah, both of you, shut up. I don't care about his tax returns. I don't care about Stormy Daniels. Do something. They're not going to do anything. I think we know that. I think we'd be honest with ourselves. They're not going to do anything. You know what? Let me phrase that. They will do something. They will. That's fight and argue and whine and moan and take up things that they think the world cares about when the reality is the average person just wants them to kind of do their job. We're not asking for a great job. We're just asking for you not to suck. 323-538-2423. That is the text line. So you text the line, 323-538-CHAD. Text me directly. I try to get back to as many people as possible. What do you think? Is this as much to do about nothing? Are you just over it? Even if you're against Trump at some point in time, do you think it's just time to say, all right, we've had enough and let's move on? Text the program or follow me at Chad Benson Show. You can tweet at me right there. Medicare open enrollment right here, right now. Wouldn't it be a relief if you had like direct access to somebody who's like a real agent, understands this stuff, helps you with this, puts you in the right position to make the best, most important decision you can for you and yourself? That's what AMAC's doing right now. They're partnering with Senior Resource Network. And when you sign up for a year with AMAC, which, by the way, costs you how many dollars? $0, because it's free. They don't even want your credit card. You're going to have your own dedicated agent. Go to amac.us/Chad. Boom. Away you go. On top of that, they're advocating politically for things like immigration reform, healthcare reform, Social Security reform, things like that. And you got benefits, so many benefits. Retail, restaurant, hotel discounts, 40% off movie tickets, up to 40% off amusement parks, Disneyland, SeaWorld, Legoland, things of that nature. And did I mention it was free? Yeah. You don't even have to worry. They don't want your credit card. They're like, here's my credit. No. We don't want your credit card. We're going to show you what we can do for you. Join today. It is the conservative alternative. Go to amac.us/Chad. That's amac.us/Chad. amac.us/Chad. AMAC is better for you, better for America. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. ChadBenson. Oh, Trump at it, as he tends to be. And we'll touch this. I found this to be interesting. I wanted to get to it. I think we'll do it next. American Medical Association came out, talk about spanking this week and corporal punishment. Good, bad, or indifferent. We'll talk about it. Chad Benson Show.
Being antisocial sucks. Hang with Chad's friends on Facebook, The Chad Benson Show. And if you just need some alone time, head on over to Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Either way, we can't wait to meet the real you.
The American Academy of Pediatrics is clear. They are against hitting. They are against spanking. They are against this form of corporal punishment as a means of discipline. But the questions here, what is your short-term goal? What is your long-term goal? Why are you doing it? What are you trying to teach when they say the goal of parental discipline is to teach responsibility and self-control? Does hitting, spanking, corporal punishment do that?
No, I don't think it does. You know what? I got walloped. Now, and I think there's a difference between spanking and like your mom hitting you with a spoon, right? Like you're standing there and she's yelling at you and you guys are fighting and she whacks you in the arm with a spoon. That's not spanking. That's a shut up. Listen to me. Right? I got spanked when I was a kid and I remember a few of them. Did it teach me anything? Taught me to be more terrified of my dad, I think, than anything else. But I don't know. I don't think so. I think the difference is we were taught personal responsibility and we had a bit more fear, but I think kids were that way anyways when we were younger. We were terrified. Does it mean it was a good thing? It's hard to say. For some people out there, they needed more discipline. I can understand that. But I think in general, I don't know if it does anything, and it doesn't. The problem is when I see parents today, right, or some of my friends who've been parents, is they wanted to be pals and not parents, right? And with Jack, I'm dad. I'm dad-tator, right? Like I am. That's it. I'm Saddam Hussein dad. You know, as far as so this is it. Like right here, this is it. All right. And there's rules, and they follow the rules, and those things. Those are serious. And instead, what I've seen nowadays with people is you're trying to reason with your child and you're making your child an equal when they're not an equal because they're not knocking out that rent, right? They're not doing the things you're supposed to. Your dad, your mom, and that's a lot of the issues that I see with kids nowadays. Plus, it's also, where is dad in a lot of ways?
The data does show that in children who are spanked or hit, that it can be ineffective, again, short-term or long-term, that it can lead to aggressive behavior, that it actually may damage the parent-child relationship, both short-term and long-term, and that it can increase the risk of mental health disorders. There have been negative impacts on vocabulary, IQ, cognitive development. So again, this is very, very murky and controversial area.
Yeah, it is. And it's one of those things where you've got to step back and you say to yourself, what are you trying to achieve with something like that? Right? And we're not talking about there are issues out there. You know, you have a teenage kid who's into drugs and there's lots of problems and it becomes just out of control. We're talking about, I could never even imagine hitting my son. Never. Never imagine. Ever. But I like to think the fact that there's a healthy respect and a little bit of fear because mom and dad are dictators. We're strict when it comes to school, when it comes to certain things, and I don't see that. And I said it earlier. Dads is also an important thing. They're talking parents here, but in too many ways now, it's just parent. And that, I think, is also something that plays into what we're seeing with a lot of kids nowadays.
The issue here for parents is because it can reflect both what's going on in the parent as well as situationally what's going on in the child, we have to give some tips to parents. If you find that it's getting out of control, talk to a professional, a social worker. Take a time out, not just for your child, but for yourself, and really focus on the bigger issues, what you're trying to show them, and take steps to lower your stress, because that may be all you need.
Yeah, and how you parent is you. And there is a line. I think a lot of people know that there's a line that people cross. There is. It's one thing, I think, to give a swat, but there is a line. And that's not it's never been my thing. And when I was a kid, it taught me to be somewhat fearful. But, you know, for a lot of it. Now, and like I said, there's also this whole situation about, you know, you're sitting there and your mom smacks you upside the head. That to me is not a spanking. We don't do that enough. I'm okay with a little smack upside the head like when I was a kid. I deserved a lot of that. I couldn't do that to Jack, right? But when I was a kid, oh, yeah, Jack's way better than I ever was as a kid. Oh, my God, he's 1,000 times better. 1,000 times better. But my mom, she hit me with a spoon a few times. She was like a ninja, right? She was like Kill Bill. Like, whing! I was like, whoa, what is that all about? How did you get it to hit me and come back to you at the same time? 323-538-2423. Hollywood. There's some conservative people in Hollywood. We're going to talk about a guy who is actually conservative in Hollywood and how he does his business, which is being a movie critic. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Well, if you watch, listen to me, any of the things that I do here on the radio, wherever else I do them, you know that I am who I am, and I like to have fun, and movies are my jam. And we decided, let's get this guy on because, A, he's a movie reviewer, and he's right of center. I know, crazy in the world of Hollywood. You could have somebody right of center, but he's got a lot of interesting takes. So we're going to talk about some of those things today, including a poo in Hollywood and how you even survive as a conservative. Christian Toto joins us. HollywoodinToto.com is where you go to check out all of his stuff. First, Christian, how do you survive in a world of Hollywood / conservative? Because I grew up in L.A. Many of my friends are in the business. I'm a little bit center right. A lot of them are super progressive. It's a different world out there, isn't it?
It is, and I step carefully. You know, one of the things that I do with my site and the way I approach movies is, yes, I have a right-of-center perspective, and yes, I do bring that to my presentation, but I don't get mean. I don't get nasty. I've interviewed many, many liberal stars over the years, and I've yet to have a single complaint that I mischaracterized what they said or I misconstrued what they were trying to mean. I will say that one time I interviewed Tim Robbins, and he actually tape recorded me while I was tape recording him during the conversation because maybe he feared that I was working for a conservative outlet at the time, and he thought maybe I would get something he said wrong. But it was very affable, and I have no problem with anyone doing that to me because I try to treat things as fairly as I can.
That is insane that he tape recorded you as if you were going to do something like you had some sort of evil thing that you wanted to do with him. And that's the way that they feel. It's insane. So let's first talk about Apu. Now, Apu's been a big thing in Hollywood over the last several months. And I guess I don't know if they're going to kill him off. They're writing him out of everything. And I step back and I look at this and I say to myself, it is ridiculous. I mean, cartoons are the places where people do these. South Park, Family Guy. And my thought process when I was talking to my buddy the other day, I said, who's an animator in Hollywood, I said, we were talking about this, and they said if they would have tried this on The Simpsons, because, you know, Cleveland's not voiced by a black guy, if they would have tried this on Family Guy, or they would have went to South Park, it's never going to happen. But they knew they could probably get The Simpsons to do something.
Yeah, it's an interesting perspective, you know, and I thought that it's The Simpsons. It's a cultural institution. The show is nowhere near once as good as it once was, but it still has a lot of cultural cachet. But I guess they sensed that they could kind of pick this particular target and have some success, and it seems like they're getting it. There's no definitive word that Apu is gone from the show. It seems like all the signs are pointing in that direction. But yeah, it's amazing. You know, if you can bully The Simpsons and get the show to change the way they operate, then you can kind of bully any comic institution, any TV show, any film, and get some headway. And as Adam Carolla, who's a great fighter against the PC police, says, when you retreat, they encroach. You can't give in because they want more and more and more.
I know. And, you know, I always joke about it. And look, it's a cartoon. First of all, they're yellow people. And they've got like 3 fingers. So let's all step back for a second and realize what we're doing. And cartoons are kind of where PC gets thrown out of the window. I mean, all you have to do is watch an episode of Family Guy or South Park and realize that PC's out of the window because we can't do it in real life anymore. You couldn't make Archie Bunker as relevant as he was back then today. It's just no way. It's never going to happen. And when you look not only at Apu, but then you look at also Roseanne. I mean, the reality is the insanity of what took place over that. It's nuts, and it's just so bizarre the way that Hollywood handles its things and celebrates the insanity as if the rest of the country that they're trying to impress to watch their products actually buys into this.
Yeah, there's a couple of things going on here. One, most people don't care. Were there marches in the streets with Indian Americans saying that this Apu character is horrible and racist? And, listen, I would understand that. I could see that. Maybe that would be something that would convince you. But no one really had a super big problem with that until one filmmaker decided it was wrong. And also, you think about who has to apologize, what shows have to change, what actors lose their jobs. It's always very selective. You could look at, things that have been said on Jimmy Kimmel or Saturday Night Live that could be as offensive, if not more offensive. Well, her career is essentially over. They took away her one signature show, her comeback vehicle. It's gone. She has been erased from it, literally. And for one, admittedly, very ugly tweet. But I don't think that a career should end after one admittedly very ugly tweet.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, and she apologized for it, and that's never going to be enough. And that's the thing that's crazy. We're talking to Christian Toto, who has a great website. It's called Hollywood and Toto. And it doesn't matter how much you apologize. If she would have been a staunch hater of Trump, I thought to myself, she probably gets away with this. Trump being a part of this and the way that Trump, I think that Hollywood and Trump are clashing right now. The reality is if you show any signs of that, you're going to be in trouble, and they're looking now as a way to destroy you.
The irony about Roseanne Barr is that in recent years, she's been pretty left of center. She ran for the Green Party ticket to be the president. That's where her politics are. They're kind of all over the map. But in recent weeks, she definitely embraced Trump to a certain degree. Her show was fair to Trump and Trump voters, and that made her a target. Look at Alec Baldwin. How many times can he act badly on and off, actually mostly off screen? This incident where he allegedly punched someone, he said some horrible things, he said a homophobic thing, he's yelled at people on an airplane. You look at his track record and you think, well, I don't understand. How is he still gainfully employed? Why is no one sort of distancing themselves from him? But he's a hardcore progressive. He's known now for imitating Trump, and that offers him a significant level of protection. He can kind of do what he wants.
Yeah, that's insane. I always tell my friends, I'm just going to start saying I'm a Democrat or a progressive, and just say anything I want and go, I got the P card, I got the D card, nobody can stop me. Oh, they're like, oh, it's cool. You go out and you review these movies. By the way, I've got a review. I went and saw last night Overlord. I don't know if you've seen Overlord. I'm sure you have. I loved it
last night as well.
I loved it. I thought it was great. It was a B movie fun kind of thing. I wasn't going there expecting anything spectacular. I wanted a B movie, hour and a half, 2 hours of fun, and that's what I got.
I thought it took too long.
You did? You thought it took too long to get there?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was interesting. I just had fun. I just had fun doing it.
Okay. We can agree to disagree.
Yeah, but I didn't expect an Academy Award, but I wanted something where it was like it was anything but politics and all this craziness. I wanted an hour and a half of that, and that's exactly what I got. Talking to Christian Toto here. Hollywood and Toto is his site. It's the right take on entertainment. So when you go out and in Hollywood, this crazy world that we live in, there are people out there though that are right of center, and they're quiet in Hollywood, and some of them are popular. And I almost think to this point, Christian, I don't know if if you agree with me or not, you have to get to the point where you're independently so big and powerful or so talented that people will essentially leave you alone and they can look past your politics because they know they can't do anything to you.
Yeah, listen, there are people like John Boyd and Tim Allen who have been more vocal in recent years, and they are right of center, but they're superstars. They've got big track records that they can point to, and they mostly will not lose gigs because of their politics. And also, as they're not nearly as vocal as your average celebrity today. So Allen is right of center. It's not like he's on Twitter every day blasting Democrats. He just is generally right of center and occasionally mentions it. But I talk to a lot of people who talk about behind the scenes what's going on. And if you are right of center and you let it be known, it is hurting your career. I've spoken to actors who say, hey, I am conservative, but please don't put that in the article. I don't want to, there could be repercussions. I talked to a filmmaker who said that some of his crew members, when he made a right of center film, asked to be remain anonymous. They'd go under different names because they didn't want to suffer the consequences of being associated with that film. So It's happening. It's real. Some people do avoid it. The John Voights of the world are able to kind of skate by, but it's amazing. And, we talked about sort of the blacklist of the 50s and how wrong that was in many ways, but it's happening in a different way now, and there's no outrage about it.
Yeah, because in the 50s, they saw red everywhere, McCarthy era, all of these things. It was crazy because it was so loud and everybody, there was a huge backlash about the way people were treated. Nowadays, it's like, it's all fine if you want to destroy somebody's career. And James Woods is a perfect example. I don't always agree with what James says, but at some point in time, he just said, screw it. I'm done. I'm done. This is the way I feel. You guys can hate me all you want. And I think to myself, is he ever going to work again?
Yeah, I think that too. He's a great actor, flat out great actor. And the fact that he's not working constantly is not good, because I think movies are better when he's in them. So, I mentioned how Voight and Tim Allen aren't very vocal. James Woods is very vocal on Twitter, but so are 80% of other Hollywood celebrities. They just happen to come from the left of center. He's from the right, and he appears to be facing some consequences for that.
Absolutely. It's crazy. And he lost his, the CAA fired him immediately, whoever he was with, and his manager dumped him, and he's had a lot of issues. And it's hilarious because then you go and you look at something like Family Guy, they get James Woods High, and they'll have him on every once in a while to do some stuff. It's interesting to watch the way that works, because there are some people that still work out there like this. But I've also noticed something else. I don't know, and I think you probably understand this more than anybody being in this, is we live in a time, too, where you don't need Hollywood like you used to. Joe Rogan. I was watching Joe Rogan yesterday, and it was funny because he was defending Roseanne, and he was saying stuff about Valerie Jarrett that would anybody else, they'd probably get destroyed. But Joe Rogan doesn't care. He's a UFC guy, and he controls his own destiny. And that's the difference nowadays, is you can control your destiny in a way that Hollywood doesn't have it the way it used to.
You can and you can't. The podcasting realm has been wonderful. It really kind of gives you a voice. Adam Carolla says that he calls it his pirate ship, where he can just basically do what he wants. It's his show. It's his company. And I think Joe Rogan operates under a similar plan. In Hollywood, you can work around the system. The Gosnell movie from recent weeks did it. It didn't kind of go to the traditional channels. Most movie critics ignored it. So it's out there. It still exists, and it's successful in its own way. But it is harder. It's harder to go around the system. It's possible. You can do it. The technology is there, and it's great, and it's liberating. But at the same time, if you do that path, it is trickier. It is harder. You need more luck. You need more skill, and you need really good content. So I think things are opening up, and I think it's a wonderful sign to get more voices out there.
Absolutely. Well, I love what you're doing. Your stuff is entertaining, and I like the fact that you talk about all kinds of things, and it's great. I tell everybody, check it out, Hollywood and Toto. I look forward to having you on again, man. This is fun. Maybe we'll talk some movies and we can agree to disagree again. Did you like Halloween? Let me ask you that one. Did you like Halloween?
I was let down. It was not bad, but I think after all the hype and all the hoopla, I wanted something better that came closer to the original classic. What'd you think?
I liked Halloween, but I kept telling my friends, I said, I can't tell if it's an action movie dressed up like a horror movie or a horror movie dressed up like an action movie.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the way it felt.
The original is just a great horror movie, so no bones about it.
Absolutely fantastic. I appreciate you coming on today, Christian. Christian Toto right there from Hollywood and Toto. And hopefully we'll talk again soon, man. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBenson. Yeah, today I just think you could do everything so much easier yourself. And if you've got the cojones to do stuff, then why do it? And Netflix and a lot of these, you build something that's good. Netflix and a lot of these other places, they'll give you the chance. They're dying for good content. You may not be able to do the movie side of things the way that you used to, but I think that'll change sooner rather than later, especially as the movies are looking to get into your homes faster. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It is Chad Benson Show.
Running with scissors sounds great compared to this.
Say what?
For months, it roamed the earth, or at least a small part of it outside of Miami.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
A lizard, 8 feet long. The Asian water monitor, an escaped pet, first reported loose in August in a Davie neighborhood. Since then, lurking in backyards, scratching patio doors. After a tip, wildlife officers and police bagged the cold-blooded intruder. which will be returned to its owner, who will receive a citation for the escape.
Yeah, they can do that sometimes. They escape. They're wily creatures, and they're smart. They've been around forever and a day, and that's about... I was talking to somebody about this. Do you have one that big? I said, Lloyd is on his way, not too far away from that. Not too far away from... Lloyd will be there in probably the next year. He'll be 6.5, 7 feet long. What do you do with it? I said, it's a pet, like anything else. He doesn't like to be looked at. My Asian water monitor really is not a fan of... He's very sweet, very kind, but very shy. Likes it. In fact, we've built out the cabinets and everything. We've got all the lizard cages and the TV's in the center of it. And Lloyd likes his thing covered up, especially when he eats. He's very like, I don't want anybody to look at me eat. Am I doing this wrong? But yeah, that's how big they'll get. That's how big those things will get, and it's massive. And Florida's one of those places where they've got, I like them lax, but like pretty easy rules to get some of these things. And what ends up happening is people don't understand. They go buy an animal like this, and they don't realize. Now, this guy is going to get it back because this is a big. You don't get an animal to get this size without being a pet, but a lot of things, tegus especially, which are South American lizards, they're big. They're everywhere. They're flourishing. Iguanas, the same thing. They're massive, and not all of them are pets. Some of them came over, and what happens? They escape, or people let them out, and they reproduce. And so not all of them are pets, and they can live in Florida. These animals can live in Florida just like here. But yes, I have lizards like that. And people, wow, what do you keep it? I'm like Winston's 5 feet long almost. He lives on a perch in the front window, and then when he wants to go outside, he just goes outside. He hops down, and he goes over to the door, and he'll look at you, and he's let him out, and he goes out back all day, and he just chills out back. And then he comes back, and you'll hear him at the door, and he'll open it up, and he goes straight to his perch. Boom, sleep. What? Yeah, it's crazy. It's awesome. In fact, you can see Winston because he has a MyPillow. That's what's so awesome about Winston. My lizard has his own MyPillow, and everybody thinks it's hilarious. So I got several MyPillows, and I warmed them up in the because they like to eat. So I put it inside because it's 100% machine washable and dryable, and I put it inside the dryer, and I put it down when he was walking, and he walked by it, felt the warmth, he climbed on top of it, and now that's his MyPillow. And if you take it outside, he goes and sits on it all day. He loves it, and he nods his head like, "Hey, check it out! I got my own pillow." I'm like, oh, okay, there's that. MyPillow is great, by the way. Speaking of that, I can't wait tonight. Oh, God. So the last 2 weeks, I've been in L.A., San Diego. I've been in hotels. Since Halloween, I've been in hotels all but 2 days. And I'm exhausted. Probably put on 2,000 plus miles. I'm just ready. Tonight, going to go home. Going to get into bed. I'm going to put my head on my MyPillow, and boom, out I'm going to go. I was talking to somebody earlier who had a MyPillow, and they say, yeah, I had a MyPillow. I said, no. Well, you went and bought not a MyPillow. You went and bought another pillow. Well, that's what they said it was like. It's not the same. So you go to MyPillow.com, use my promo code Benson. They're going to ask you a lot about your shoulder size, things like that. There's different ones. It's not just the same one. And then you get the right one, and it works. And you're going to sleep like you've never slept before. And again, 100% machine washable and dryable, made in the USA, 10-year warranty. How about this? BOGO, buy one, get one free. This one's on Winston. Call 800-983-4975 or go to MyPillow.com. Use promo code Benson. It's MyPillow.com. Promo code is Benson. You're going to get the best night's rest. Winston guarantees it. It is the world's most comfortable pillow. MyPillow.com. Promo code Benson. At Chad Benson Show is your tweeter. Probably going to watch a little live PD tonight. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I like a live PD. I take a tally of how many people are pulled over in their car without a shirt. I just find it incredible how many people feel the need to only partially dress and drive around places. You can text the program 323-538-2423. Follow along on all the social medias. Chad Benson Show TV on the YouTube, at Chad Benson Show in your Facebook there, and Twitter as well. It is the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. independent in thought and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
When the Senate returns next week, Republican Jeff Flake says he and Democratic Senator Chris Coons will ask for a unanimous vote to prevent President Trump or the acting Attorney General from firing Special Counsel Robert Meuller. There is increasing concern from both parties that with Jeff Sessions gone, the new acting Attorney General, Matt Whittaker, could finally carry out the president's wish to end the Russian investigation.
Now, interesting, because today, apparently, the feds are looking into campaign finance issues because Trump played a key role in the Catherine McDougal, Stormy Daniels payoff. And they're saying, hey, is there some campaign finance? And this is where people on the right will say, well, this is why Sessions caused all these issues, because this whole investigation was about Russia, and now we're at campaign finance over a playmate and a porn actress. I don't say star, because she's not a star. She's done nothing to earn star status. And now they've got this guy. Who's this guy? This Whittaker guy. Well, last night, people all over the country, right? People all over the country were protesting.
Unlike Sessions, sources tell ABC News Whittaker will not recuse himself from overseeing the Russia probe, something that has Democrats outraged. And it's not just on Capitol Hill. Overnight, protesters around the country, from New York to Chicago to the White House, calling on Whittaker to step aside. But inside the White House, sources tell ABC Whittaker is on the short list to permanently lead the Justice Department.
Oh, and that's angering people because people look at him and say that he is this Trump guy. This guy's a Trump dude. He's a Trump guy. Ho, ho. Whittaker has got to go. Hey, hey. You know what? I'm sitting here and I'm listening to all this stuff. And I said something yesterday about anybody he appoints to anything, anybody that takes up anything that he's even involved with, they're going to want him always to, or her to always leave because they're bad people. As if people don't have their own conscience and they're automatically assumed to be bad human beings. And I think that's not good. I mean, you're prejudging somebody, right? A lot of people thought Sessions was going to be that way, and he stepped away. He said, no, I'm going to recuse myself from this. I don't know. I don't even know what kind of relationship they have. They talked about it today about Whittaker.
I don't know Matt Whittaker. Matt Whittaker worked for Jeff Sessions, and he was always extremely highly thought of, and he still is.
But do you know him, or don't you know him? Like, that's just it. Well, I don't know the guy either. But they're really worried about this. The left is worried about protecting Mueller. And they're going to do everything they can to protect Mueller. They're talking about, hey, we're going to do this or we're going to do that, and we're going to put some stuff together and try to do all we possibly can to protect him. I think this thing's always going to go through. I've always thought it's going to end up. People say, Chad, what if? I'm like, I'll listen to the what if. Well, what if they find something on him? Well, then they find something on him and we take it from there. What if they don't find anything on him? Well, then are you going to accept the same thing? And I don't think either side will accept it. They find something on Trump. It's going to be what? Deep state. Deep state. It was always flawed from the beginning. Peter Strzok and all of these other people, Page, all these, it's deep, 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 deep state. Deep state. They've hated him since the jump. If they don't find anything, it's because Trump has put people in place to block him from anything happening. People have already made up their mind. And I would be frustrated too. I mean, you're going after everything. Remember, this is the importance of why why Trump originally wanted somebody to say, look, you're investigating this. This started out as what? As Russia. From Russia, we've gone to obstruction. From obstruction, we've gone to potentially campaign finance. And this is my fear. This is my fear. Every single president from here on out is going to be, well, the other side is going to scrutinize over and over and over everything, looking, twisting, turning, investigating. How much was he involved in this? Wall Street Journal's reporting every step of the hush money payments made to these women he was involved with. Every step. Now, campaign finance comes with, did he take it out of the campaign and put it there? Of course, he put a lot of his own money in the campaign. He can say, well, I put $30 million, $50, $100 million into it, But that's what they're going to look for. But it started out one place and went to another, and that's what happens, and that's what people are going to say is when you don't have a scope of what you're working with, this is it. And my fear, take away Trump. Let's say the next person's in there. Is this what we're going to be doing over and over again, no matter what side of the aisle is? If we couldn't beat you, we're going to do this. And we're going to find out every single possible thing we can. I think it is. And that's sad. That's not good for us, right? Because what do they always say? If you look hard enough, you're going to find something. Even if somebody didn't mean to do something, still doesn't matter. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. So the shooter yesterday, this more unfolds from this. I think we're starting to realize that PTSD was the huge part of this. And this is a person who knew the shooter. Listen to him. He was actually in the bar the other night when all of this took place. And it is just, it's insane.
I saw him like a year and a half ago, and when he was going to CSUN for like a physical therapy degree. Then I hear his name today, and I'm just in disbelief, because he killed my friends, and he was my friend too. And he had some anger issues through the years that I've seen him, but nothing to the extent that I would imagine that he would do something like this.
So he's there, he sees him, his buddy, and boom, away it goes. And the shooting comes and the craziness.
I didn't get a full visual on him. What happened was I was on the other side of the bar. He comes into the front door and just starts popping shots off. And everybody froze for like 5 or 10 seconds because the music was so loud. We didn't know if it was like something with like the speaker, for the people that are on my side of the bar, because we weren't right up him. And so we just sit there and you hear pop, 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 pop. And it keeps going like a lot. And then everybody realized it's a shooter. And I look out and I see the muzzle flashes going off by the front door. And so everybody just takes off in different directions.
Yeah. And one of the things that people are saying nowadays is just like on an airplane. And it's sad that we have to think in these ways, but on an airplane, what do they tell you? There's your exit here, there's your exit here, there's your exit here. And in a lot of these places like this, people have no idea where any exit is minus the door they came in. So one of the things they talk about is shooters will go to places where if they're going to do something where it can become a funnel effect, where they know most people have no idea where to go. So you're either going to hide or you're going to try to get out. And a lot of times their hope is you're going to come towards them. And they also talked about the fact that he was a Marine, and you could tell that.
To know this person, to have been friends with this person at one point, to know that this person could have killed you and killed people you knew. How do you deal with it?
It's just reality right now. The person I knew was a trained Marine. He knew how to use firearms. I don't think anybody was going to be able to stop him. He hid behind the front desk and started firing off rounds from behind cover. He was a well-trained Marine.
Yeah, he was. And it was awful and it's horrible. And then with all of that comes, yes, of course, kids, the politics.
In California, we just had an historic shooting. It was the worst mass shooting in a week. Think about that. 12 lives stolen by a thief that visits us weekly. This is our new normal. Broken families, survivors processing their pain, coming on TV in a genuine effort to let us know who was lost and to remind us of the price we are all so damnably willing to pay. 80 to 90% plus in poll after poll agree that who gets a gun should be handled better. And then you go vote this past Tuesday in the midterms, and the issue is nowhere.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not anywhere because it's never enough. And that's the fear, right? Like that's always the fear is what do you want? California, look at the gun control in California. Look across the way they restrict several different things, what you can and can't have, all of that stuff. You could still own a gun, kind of. You can, but the restrictions are in there. What more do you want? That's the curious. Like, what more? If you're looking at a place like California where the gun control is so already restrictive, what more are you asking for? I'm just curious.
And when we say the obvious, stop the damn shootings, as soon as you say that, it's like hiking the ball in a football game. The NRA scrambles to reinforce the status quo. No law would have changed this. Good guys with the guns, that's the answer. Look at all the laws in California. This is about mental illness, if it's about anything, and we're all on board with being a part of addressing that, as long as it has nothing to do with restricting access.
Well, what do you want to restrict? I'm just curious. That's when I ask people, well, we need background checks. Okay, so let's say we have all the background checks in the world that you think, and this still happens. What's the next thing? And then what's the next thing? I'm willing to listen all day long. I don't want this to happen. They went out and saw him, for God's sakes, and they decided not to 5150 him. What are we supposed to do? I think we can all agree. I've yet to meet somebody in the NRA who wakes up and goes, God, I hope there's a mass shooting today because I love having to defend the fact that I own guns and I'm a law-abiding citizen, and I love to have the fact that I'm demonized over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. So what do we do? I'm just curious. Well, it's not a good guy with a gun. Okay. Then what is it? Tell me. Tell me. Because until you start changing human nature and the potentials of people who have real issues mentally and sometimes just hate and evil, until you can fix that, take away all the guns you want. But if you think that's going to stop people from doing bad things, which is what this is supposed to be all about, you're fooling yourself. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you kids. I do. I tweeted earlier about the joke that is Florida and Arizona as far as you look. There's dueling lawsuits now in Florida. What did I say? How many people are lawyering up? They're looking at lawyers and lawsuits in Georgia. There's 4 million ballots uncounted so far, I guess, in California. And Arizona is apparently counting each vote just one day at a time. We'll get there in about 400,000. I think Sinema's going to win. That's just me. But looking at the ballots and where they're coming in from, I think that she's going to increase her lead. But still, in this day and age, the time it's taking to do this is insane. Get with the program. You're embarrassing yourselves. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. 1-800-Flowers is amazing. And this is what they're doing. They've got this incredible autumn bouquet. And I say it's incredible because, first of all, I like getting flowers. Secondly, it's got the red, it's got the yellow, it's got orange, and I love orange. It's incredible. I do. Orange is my favorite colors. And this is what they're doing for you right now. It's a 36 for 36. $36, 36 roses, buck a rose. Maybe it's an anniversary, a birthday, a just because. Maybe you screwed up. Or something just to freshen up the house and a just because. And here comes the holidays. It's autumn time. What are you waiting for? 1-800-Flowers. Simple and easy. This is what I want you to do right now. You go there. 1-800-Flowers.com. You can get 36 for 36. 36 autumn roses, $36. Go to the radio icon, enter code Benson, B-E-N-S-O-N. That's 1-800-Flowers.com, code Benson. You're going to love it. 36 autumn roses, red, yellow, orange. 1-800-Flowers.com, code Benson. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, C-H-A-D-B-E-N-S-O-N. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Feel free to punk this punk rocker any time of the day or night. Reach Chad on Twitter at Chad Benson Show and on Instagram at Chad Benson Show. And oh yeah, the Chad Benson Show on Facebook too. Punk that.
By doing a dance on the graves of Republicans who did not show him enough fealty. Republicans who, for their own purposes, many of them in those suburban districts that turned away from President Trump, where he was toxic. That commercial was toxic. His language was toxic. People like Congressman Carlos Curbelo in Florida. People like Congresswoman Barbara Comstock in Virginia. People like Congresswoman Mia Love in Utah. He danced on their graves.
Yeah, and which I didn't think was right. And I get it. You know, Trump is a fiery guy, and it drives me crazy at times. I like the passion. I like the fire. But at the same time, there are... he is an us versus them. And that, to me, doesn't win in a situation like this. You're supposed to be a Republican. That's what everybody says. He's not a Republican. I'm here to tell you guys, if you think he's a Republican, he's not. And if I'm the Republican Party, I'm asking myself, what do we do from here? Just out of curiosity, where do we go from here? Because Trump is eventually going to leave, and we aren't going to keep that group of people who are fed up with the status quo by bringing somebody in that's status quo. And are we going to decide that he is going to be the new mouthpiece of our party, meaning we're going to have to follow in that kind of vein, in that direction? As much as the Democrats don't really have a way that they're going that looks like worth a damn, and they're, their thing is they don't like him, so therefore you should like us. They don't really have a direction, right? If you live on the coast, it's uber progressive, and the rest of the country, it's we just hate Trump. That's not a winning formula either. This is what I keep saying. There's a perfect opportunity to drive a hole through this giant, huge political, a mountain, and to stake a flag for a third party. But Trump is not a Republican, right? They came to him and they said, hey, you want to be on the Republican ticket? There's some things we don't like. You're pro-life? You're pro-choice? No. You're this? Nah. All right, I'll change. So now what? Because he is going to leave, and those people aren't going to be there. They're not sticking around for what you've got. And that's the issue, I think, that the Republicans are really going to have. There's going to be this giant void left afterwards that I don't think they're realizing that they're probably not going to fill, not with anybody I see in the near future. Oh, it may be more civil, and that may make the Democrats feel better. And the Democrats are going to have a tough time because they're not going to have somebody to hate like this. Perfect time for a third party. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Speaking of Democrats, we'll touch on them. Where do they go from here? That's a good question, because they got some answers to questions that people are asking, even on the left. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The only thing I can say compare that to is, some of the works of Francis Ford Coppola or Martin Scorsese. I mean, that's how gangsters act. The idea that you're not loyal to them and therefore you deserve the punishment.
That right there is, of course, Trump's best buddy in the world, Jake Tapper, talking about Trump and how excited he was that some of those people lost and blah, 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 blah. It's the usual baloney. They fight all day. But, Trump has set a tone for the Republican Party. And there's some that didn't want to be a part of that. And because of that, some of them, I think, lost. And I think some of them probably did okay because Trump didn't show up in certain areas. You know your area best. You know your strengths. And what happens after he's gone? Well, I talked about the fact that I don't think they have much of a bench out there of up-and-comers, and they certainly don't have a personality, even though he's not a real conservative. That's disingenuous to say, they like him because he stands up to the left. They like him because he gives as good as he gets and vice versa, and he can take it, and they don't have anybody who's got, I think, the stomach to do what he's doing, but they also don't have somebody behind him that's going to be able to carry on that mold. Not that they were, again, he's not conservative. I don't care what anybody said. He was pro-life for a very long time. I don't think he cares about anybody's sexual identity or any of those things. I don't think he cares about any of that. I mean, he's somewhat libertarian in that. He's anti-conservative when it comes to, tariffs and things of that nature and free trade. But he's trying to do that so he can get free trade is what his answer is going to be. So it's very interesting to see what happens. But on the other side of the aisle, you have the left. And the left has basically been what? They've been against Trump, and that's kind of been their rallying call. We're just against Trump. But do you have anything else?
The Democrats just won back the House of Representatives after 8 years. They are thrilled with that, obviously, and yet they don't appear to have any idea how they did it. As of tonight, there really is no Democratic program or platform or message. There's no Democratic plan for making the economy stronger or the country safer. There's only Donald Trump, whom they despise. The entire Democratic message is Trump. The president is often accused of narcissism, making everything about himself. But on that point, Democrats agree with him. They think everything is about Trump, too.
Yeah. I mean, that's like they're still trying to figure out how they lost. And on top of that, this guy, not only did they lose, I think if they would have lost to somebody like, let's say they lost to Bush. Let's say Bush made it through. They'd be pissed. They'd be angry. Back to the drawing boards, whatever. Not only did they lose, they lost to this guy. And there's no way that we could lose this guy. The deplorables voted him in. How do we get rid of this guy? How do we get rid of it? Because as I remind everybody out there, if those of you don't know, let's say for the sake of argument, they catch him and they've got him in some sort of Russia thing and they've got him in obstruction of justice. And they got him and all of a sudden, even there's an impeachment, the whole 9 yards. He says, I'm out of here. I'm resigning, the whole 9 yards. It's not like the Democrats go, okay, who gets to, are you ready for this, Hillary? It's not going to happen that way. It's not. Their single-mindedness is to get him. But just like after Trump, I look over at the Democrats and go, after Trump, what?
Getting Trump's tax returns.
Breaking news, they do intend to request President Trump's tax returns. Getting your hands on those Trump tax returns, as everyone knows, would be a big deal for the committee.
That's the priority for Democrats, not infrastructure, not wages, not the looming threat of China or drug ODs in this country, the shrinking middle class, not even health care. Trump's tax returns. That's what Democrats really want.
Yeah. Why? Because they're still trying to figure out. They're trying to relive that night in an alternative universe that they could say, somehow we got mixed up. We should have won. So the best thing that we can do is get him. And once we do that, things will be good. Things will be great. And then anybody else that was associated with Trump that he's appointed or that are in certain positions, even if they're doing an okay job, we need to make sure we do everything we can to get them. But first, it starts with the tax returns.
What exactly will we learn from Trump's tax returns? That a casino owner once employed a clever accountant? That he made less than he claimed he did? Will anybody be shocked by any of that? Will anyone care about any of that? Or as with the Stormy Daniels saga that went on forever, will voters find themselves titillated for a moment and then lose interest? What do Trump's tax returns have to do with them anyway? Their premiums haven't gone down. It's all just noise. Almost all of this is just noise.
Yeah. And that is my question. Because, see, what you hear, when you do hear something anymore from the Democrats, what I hear is free health care, free college, free this, free that. And that's from a certain area. You get that in Brooklyn and with Ocasio-Cortez, who, by the way, can't afford to move to Washington just yet because she's not getting her salary. And the other side of things, you get that in the liberal bastions of Seattle and San Francisco and Los Angeles. But what about the rest of everybody, the rest of us? What are you doing there? Because the average Democrat doesn't want immigration to be just flowing free and any kind of, hey, yeah, everybody can come here if they want, right? The average Democrat doesn't want to get rid of ICE, right? They're law-abiding citizens like everybody else. They may be pro-union. They may be pro-choice. And I'll say this. I believe the average Democrat, the kind of Democrats, just like the kind of Republicans that we looked at in the past, are more libertarian anymore than anything else. So what are you doing to win their votes? Right now, they don't like Trump as much, so you've got that. But when all is said and done, Trump's going to go away, and the Republicans are going to be like, we don't have anybody in line. And the Democrats are going to be like, well, now we got to give a message. And our last 4 years or 2 years or whatever, who knows how long he's going to be there, was this guy's just the worst human being on earth. So that's not much of a message because he's gone, and we can't say, vote for us because that guy's gone, but he's still awful. That's not a message.
Congressman Jerry Nadler will likely be the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee. Just today, Nadler was on a train back to Washington from New York, and he was overheard by somebody laying out his legislative priorities. First on the list, impeaching Brett Kavanaugh and removing him from the Supreme Court. Apparently that's what Democrats really believe voters want. More than anything else, get that Kavanaugh guy off the court.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly what they want. No. There's a chance here to get a few things done that are big. Justice reform. We absolutely need it. Bipartisan justice reform. We need infrastructure done right. Absolutely. And we need to tackle healthcare. And now is the time when both have a little bit of strength and a little bit of weakness to say, all right, here's the deal. What can we compromise on? What can be your give and take and my give and take? Because 70% of it we kind of all agree with. And remember, we're trying to get to the same place. We just have a different path we're taking. So, and we think somebody should drive themselves, and some people think that, well, everybody should be driven by somebody else. So let's figure out how we get there. What are we going to do to get there? Those are the questions. Both sides have questions, and all of them revolve around Trump. For the Republicans, it's, what are we going to do when he's gone? What are we going to do? And for the Democrats, it's, what are we going to do when he's gone? What are we going to do?
Can Schiff really prove that? Who knows? Maybe. What we can know for certain is that nobody outside Washington will care at all if he does prove it. The entire Russia conversation is irrelevant and dumb. It has been proven already. It has nothing to do with anything, and everybody knows it. Democrats are the only ones who don't know it yet. As of right now, the entire Democratic platform can be summed up in one sentence. Donald Trump is a bad person. That's what they plan to run on in the next presidential election, which incidentally starts today, right now. Good luck with that.
Yeah. And what happens if your whole platform is he's awful and he's evil, and then you think you're going to run against him, and then right around 6 months before the election, he turns to Pence and he says, I'm bouncing. I don't want this thing anymore. I think I've done enough. I'm getting the hell out of here. Both sides are going to be scrambling. That's a Trump move right there. Both sides have issues. Both sides have massive, massive issues. And I don't know if they're going to fix them anytime soon. That's why I keep saying a third party. Now is the time. This is a great opportunity to jump into a position where a third party could really actually do something. And I don't know who will. I don't. It's not the libertarians. It's not. It's somewhere, call it I don't know. There's just got to be something else, though. There does. I look out there and look at the landscape, and I say to myself, what do we have out there and they could really do something? Somebody just texted in, yeah, I don't want any part of this. I got other stuff going on. Right? I got other stuff. Plus, they're not going to let me take my lizards. Right? And that's mostly what I want to say. Can I take my lizards to the White House? Although, could you imagine? Like, I'd have them build me some cool lizard cages. People come to the White House. These are my lizards. It's awesome. What do you think of that? Hey, you know what's smart, kids? ZipRecruiter.com/Benson. Brilliant. It's not smart. It's genius. You know what's not smart? Here it is. Business is booming, and you still haven't found the right employees for the positions you have open. That's not smart because you continue to do the same thing over and over again. That's just plain stupid. Smart business is working with ZipRecruiter.com/Benson. And I'll tell you why. ZipRecruiter is so unlike anything else out there. When you post your job with ZipRecruiter, they start working for you. All right? So boom, out goes your job. You've got all the stuff that you're looking for. What do? They start scanning resumes, highlighting and identifying people that match the skills that you're looking for, and then they actively invite them to apply for those jobs, and they highlight those right there. In fact, you're going to get a quality candidate through the site fast, I predict, within 24 hours. ZipRecruiter is rated #1 by employers, according to Trustpilot, over 1,000+ reviews. And this is what they're doing for you right now. Right now, my listeners, that's you guys out there, post your job for free today. How about this? Post your job now. By Monday, you're interviewing people. Boom! Go to ZipRecruiter.com/Benson. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Benson. ZipRecruiter.com/BENSON. ZipRecruiter is the smartest way to hire. @Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. We're going to talk a little Veterans Day because Veterans Day is on Monday. Happy Veterans Day to all of you out there. And it's going to be very interesting because a lot of veterans out there, they're in a situation where they've got VA and they got to sign up for other stuff. And it's crazy. How far have we come with the VA? And on this Veterans Day, we think about some of the things that are going on out there. It's time that we take care of our veterans. And there's a lot of things that they don't know. So we're going to sit down. We're going to talk about veterans and what you can do to help veterans along the way and what they can do to help themselves. It is the Chad Benson Show.
Sniffling, sneezing, stuffy head thing going on? Time for your daily dose of Vitamin Chad.
Veterans Day is not too far away, and there's a lot of things that veterans need to pipe up and listen to because there's some things that are happening out there. We got a guy that's going to help break it down for you, Ed Sandrick, director of the Veterans Channel at Humana. Ed, I appreciate you coming on today. Let's talk about some of the stuff that's happening out there for veterans, especially when it comes to care across the board. What's happening, what's changing as we head into 2019?
No, thanks for having me, Chad. What is happening right now, we're in the midst of the annual enrollment period for Medicare. That began on October 15th, Monday the 15th, and it'll close on Friday, December 17th. And that's for Medicare plans that go into effect January of 2019. The veteran community, of the 22 million veterans that are out there in the United States, over 9 million of them are over the age 65 or over. And 7 of the 9 million are Vietnam-era veterans. So we're talking about essentially the strike zone, or the sweet spot of Medicare. These are veterans who served a long time ago for a while. They're in the Medicare realm, so to speak, and they would be looking for their Medicare Advantage plans or the Medicare options in 2019. What we want to talk about is helping veterans understand what their options are where Medicare or Medicare Advantage is concerned, especially the veterans who get some or all their health care through the VA system.
And some of the things that are out there. So if you're a veteran, you're going to have a lot of questions. What are some of the questions that you think are going to be most common that veterans maybe should be asking?
So anybody that's eligible for Medicare should consider the costs of a plan, the premiums, the upfront cost, that is, the premiums, deductibles, co-payments, their maximum out-of-pocket cost. They ought to be asking the questions as to whether or not their doctors or preferred doctors and hospitals are in the network. Many seniors are on medications and need to be thinking about drug formularies. The list of drugs that Medicare Advantage plans that have prescription drug covered would have. Veterans and everybody needs to remember that original Medicare, while it's good in terms of the medical side of things, it doesn't cover prescription drugs. So they ought to be thinking about a standalone prescription drug plan or a Medicare Advantage plan that has prescription drug coverage. Veterans in particular ought to think about Part B coverage. We've learned that there are a lot of myths and misconceptions among the veteran community, the older veteran community, about signing up for Part B in Medicare, particularly, again, those veterans who get all or most of their care through the VA system. The myth is, or the misconception is, that if I get my care at the VA, I don't need to sign up for Part B in Medicare, which may be true if they can take care of themselves entirely through the VA system. But come the day when they need to go outside the system for whatever reason, and they hadn't signed up for Part B in Medicare, when they are needing to sign up for Part B and go on original Medicare or Medicare Advantage, they may incur a penalty, a financial penalty, for having waited that long. So they need to be looking at those sorts of things, particularly the veterans that are turning 65. And even the VA encourages veterans to consider seriously making sure that they sign up for Part B.
I'm talking to Ed Sandrick. All the veterans know what you should be looking for as you head into the opportunity to sign up for Medicare. He's director of Veterans Channel in Humana. There's Medicare A, there's Medicare B, there's Medicare C, there's Medicare D, and people get confused. People have no idea what the differences are between those. It's a lot of confusion.
Medicare Part A is traditionally the part that's known as the hospital coverage. Part A would cover services and supplies that are medically necessary to treat a disease or a certain condition. It includes inpatient hospital care, nursing home care, home health services, and hospice. Part B is more traditionally known as the physician portion or the outpatient portion. So A and B would together be original Medicare. Medicare Part C came into being in the the 90s, and it is Medicare Advantage. So it combines, it includes Part A and B, so it covers everything that original Medicare covers, but it also, through the resources that companies like Humana can bring to the table, would include a lot more benefits and services that you wouldn't get with just standalone original Medicare. Predictable co-payments, low or no plan deductibles, maximum out-of-pocket protection. We have plans that are designed to help individuals improve their health. There's dental, hearing, and vision coverage, fitness club memberships, and nurse advice line 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So anyone is looking for something additional that they may not have to pay for. Many of the plans that we have out there are zero premium. They can get all of those additional benefits and services and still keep their VA healthcare coverage. The last is Part D, as you mentioned. That's the prescription drug coverage.
It's a lot of stuff there. It's a lot of stuff. And if people want to find out more about this, where do they go? How do they contact you guys to get more information?
They certainly can contact us, www.humanamedicare.com, and get access to a lot of information right there on the website, and additionally get access and be connected to a licensed agent who can help them over the telephone or perhaps arrange for an agent to visit them in their home. Or certainly go to Medicare.gov, www.medicare.gov, or 1-800-MEDICARE.
Ed Sandrick, thanks so much for coming on today. We appreciate that. As we head into Veterans Day, it's good for everybody to know exactly what they're going to be looking at as they head into this time of year where they got to start signing up for this. And people will put that on the website. Ed Sandrick right there, Director of Veterans Channel at Humana right there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. It is The Chad Benson Show.
This is The Chad Benson Show.